Hello,
Oh, no.
Eureka. Hello, Patryq. How are you today?
Great. How are you? She just phrases.
I wanted to trip you up, Patryq. I already know you're going to be. I'm so good, Eric, and I'm so excited to have Patryq here too. He gets kind of camera shy, so I love messing with him. It's like one of my favorite pastimes.
Okay, good. We got to keep it so that he doesn't hit that hide the camera view and just lock him in there.
I don't see any buttons, so
Oh,
we're good.
good, good. I want to ask you each first how you're both doing and managing during the pandemic, and where are you right now?
I'm doing okay. I thought there would be issues with work, but I have plenty of work. I'm being extra cautious and staying socially distant from everyone. My shop is isolated, so it's just Troy and I. So we work, we come home, we stop at the grocery. We don't hardly do anything at all. And it's been great because we're not eating out. So we're not spending any money.
Yeah, I feel the same way actually. I mean, weirdly, I haven't like fed myself this much in probably years. I'm like finding myself like not having the taste for fast food like I did weirdly. So I feel you, Patryq, because I'm like, oh, the like grocery store is actually kind of nice. It's a nice place to go.
You just stay home and eat spaghetti.
Oh, I hate spaghetti. I hate spaghetti, Eric. Side note. But no, quarantine's been interesting. I mean, I'm in West Hollywood. I did recently like do a trip to visit family. It was kind of tough because the airports are real kind of crazy. I had to do a lot of like precautionary measures to like make sure I like had like bottles of spray alcohol. I was like Clorox wiping everything. But it was pretty smooth, and I flew a Delta, not to like promote them or anything, but it was actually pretty smooth. But my flights did get delayed, and like they're only doing like half capacity on these planes, things like that. I mean, there's a lot of precautions all across the country happening. So I've been affected like pretty intensely by it. And then of course work too. A lot of drag from home, which is different. I was up in a hotel room yesterday in high whore drag, honey, doing a Zales campaign for Pride because you just have to make it work wherever you're at, so.
Yes. Yeah, that's I was just going to ask what type of normalcy are you able to find, and especially for the drag community who just relies on in-person acts and tips in it and that interaction. What can fans do to help?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, just support the digital shows is the way you can help. But second, wear your mask. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of controversy going on right now about people arguing over putting a mask on their face. I'm just like, girl, you all have done a lot worse, okay? For a lot less. So just put your damn mask on and be thankful and like blessed that it's not worse, and it's going to continue to get worse if we're not mindful. So I think that's my biggest advice. But I'm also like super advocating that right now because the numbers just keep rising. And I'm like, I don't want to do a second wave of this pandemic stay at home stuff. So I'm really like hoping we can get back to a normalcy at some point.
Too.
That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. As far as like shows and stuff, just show up for the digital drag shows. The people are getting creative online. Even my sister Bob, the drag queen, did a queer town hall, not only for Pride, but also for the Black Lives Matter movement. Yes. We're also doing another Feed the Queens organizational fundraiser with Shangela. So there's like a lot of stuff happening. It's just from home. So
yeah. And this is from home too. And that's why we're here. We're here to talk about HBO's We're Here, which I love. I love it so much. It's really different than anything like it. There's a little bit of Tu Wong Fu and a little bit of Queer Eye and a little bit of all of these things, but it's not one thing. It's kind of everything. And I want to know what level of input you and Bob and Shangela had on decision making, and like who your drag daughters were assigned to.
So like, did we have input on the assignees? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, there's, honestly, there's an incredible casting team that works with HBO and also IPC, the production company that we work with. And they are really smart about, they've really invested the time to get to know who me, Bob, and Shangela are as entertainers, as people. And that progressed even more throughout the season. So they kind of would like pin us with certain stories that they felt would work for the episode, I think. Input wise, me, Bob, and Shangela are actually consulting producers on the show.
Yeah.
So we do get producing credit as well, but that was more for like the production of the shows and how to really work with drag and drag queens. And, that's where we had like Patryq, our designers and our makeup artists and stuff. They were able to like actually give their opinion too. And we could like help mediate that because drag is hard. It's a difficult and a different type of entertainment that takes such an army to do. So we're here, HBO, IPC, all them. It's kind of like a family effort, and like everyone just kind of comes together and makes it happen. So everyone's kind of listened to weirdly. Like even Patryq, kind of she'll. I mean, my favorite line is the meaty tuck line from episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
We're all influential.
I got a line in.
It was extremely memorable, and seems like a really collaborative effort, and I really love to hear from Patryq on working with you, Eureka, and how do you do it?
Eureka and I have been working together for what, like 7 or 8 years, something.
Yeah, too long.
So we already knew each other,
Mm-hmm.
which was great. And I don't know, how far should we go back to the beginning? The first costume was the Eureka vacuum cleaner costume. And and when I first met you, you were discovering who you are. You were looking for where you fit in. And you were transitioning at that time, but it was an interesting time. And since then, you have taken a different path. And so we've been working together for quite a while, and we know each other. Eureka.
Patryq's also just really good at the big girl costumes, and he's creative and a glamour queen himself. You know what I'm saying? So
yes,
it was a match made in heaven, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of work in costume. Everything is a costume to me. If you tell me it's a gown, I get nervous. But if I just remind myself that it's just a very nice costume, I do better with that. So, and Eureka's great with me. She tells me right where she wants me to go, and I'll sketch, and she'll tell me what I need to change, and I'll change it, and then we'll make it. So.
Yeah, I mean, and Patryq's a genius when it comes to like, if he draws it on that piece of paper, that's what it's going to look like.
It's my blueprint.
Yeah, it's really the best part of our relationship, I think, is like, if he gives me a sketch, I mean, you can probably see some of the photos, if not have them pop up here, but the sketches versus like the images, it's uncanny to me sometimes. Like, it's crazy how alike they are to the drawing. So I'm always like, if I send an image into IPC or HBO and say this is what the look is going to be, they can expect it to be that exact look.
I was just looking at some of the sketches this weekend, and it was incredible. I loved it. It was great to see that after the show. It was wonderful. Patryq, were you able to source anything from the towns that you were in at all?
A lot of times, yeah. The opening looks we tried to have done when we got there, but for the performances, we would have to see what we had in town. And there were times when also I would order from New York and have it overnighted. So we did all of that, and some days it was tough because there were times when a Walmart or a Joann's fabric store was a half an hour away. And you could only make so many trips before you ran out of time.
Yeah.
You have to work. So, yeah, it was stressful and there was a lot of pressure, but it's the best situation. It's, I love to work like that. So it was great. It was tough to source things though. So
yeah, I'm sure.
But we did it.
Yeah. Twin Falls, Idaho, and Ruston, Louisiana. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
Eureka, what was it like working with Bob and Shangela? What's the tea?
Bob and Shangela are really, honestly, incredible to work with, weirdly. I mean, I think all three of us, when we first got on this project, we kind of took a step back and was like, okay, so these are three really big personalities in the drag world. We've all kind of worked together, but never like the three of us. I mean, Bob and Shangela have done stuff together. Me and Bob have toured the world together on Work the World and Christmas Queens, things like that. I hadn't worked as much with Shangela as I had Bob. So it was really just kind of up to the imagination of the creators of the show deciding these three girls are the ones and we're going to make it happen. And for whatever reason, it weirdly came together really well because working with them, it's easy because I don't have to worry about Bob or Shangela. They're such independent professional people that like we come together and we support each other, but we don't actually have to like depend on each other weirdly, which makes it easier to depend on each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think too, because this isn't a competition show. So
True.
you are working together for an individual goal.
Yeah, but you know what? Drag queens are still a little competitive. So, it's not really for the performance aspect, but those opening looks, the reason the opening looks are so great is because we all go to our designers and we're like, oh, Bob is going to turn the corner and something great. And me and Patty will be like, well, girl, we're going to have the most rhinestones. Or like Shangela's like, well, I need the most pleating. Or so, so there's still a little like fun competitiveness there. But that's what's so fun about drag, I think. And that's what made our costumes like so elevated, especially our opening looks, because we were like, oh girl, especially after the first episode randomly. We didn't discuss a theme for the first episode. And when I showed up as like the only crustacean nation, you know what I mean? Like the big costume, shoulder piece, all this. And then Bob and Shangela showed up in like their church lady dresses.
Yeah.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, well, why didn't I get the memo? First of all. But after that, we kind of decided to go themes. And I think because we saw like the elevation we were all wanting to go, every episode we just pushed it even further. So it was like, there is a little bit of competitiveness in the industry in general. So it's like kind of sisterly and fun, which makes it even more exciting, really. It keeps us like all on our toes and working hard.
I think I felt that a little bit in the desert looks and in the Western looks, where everybody just felt like it's my look. This is me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, especially the alien, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
And like I call my look the mayonnaise West.
Yeah.
And Bob was like the shoot 'em, duke 'em cowgirl, and then Shangela was like the denim like lady on the tractor, honey, that owns the saloon more than likely.
Yes, that denim and fur. That was wild. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I thought you owned the saloon.
Well, I mean, I think I own and work the saloon. I'm not really sure, Patty. You know me. I'm an entrepreneur.
Where's the line between being like a drag mom and a stage mom with working with your daughters and pushing them out of their comfort zones when they needed it?
Weirdly, me and Patryq actually come from the same type of drag, I think. Patryq is a drag queen in his own. He, she don't put the makeup on, but Patryq's been in this industry for how many years, Patryq?
I've been making costumes for over 30 years.
Oh
yeah, and for drag queens. And in the South, drag queens are very based around family. And there's a lot of like drag daughters and drag sisters. I'm sure you've sewn for many a drag family members together. And probably have a lot of drag family too. So even Patryq can kind of contest to this, that like for us, drag family is very big and important where we come from. So it's like, it comes naturally. You know what I mean? Like we come from an area too, where a lot of times as queer people, you're shunned from your families, or you don't have the family support that you need or want in your life. And a lot of times, like, when it comes to drag, it's easy to be a part of something, right? Like the drag family is just the ability to be a part of something. Like I had a lot of drag children back home that would be cisgendered, male, female, drag king, drag queen, all of the above, because it was really just about people coming together and being loyal and wanting to be a part of something, and also supporting the same narrative, which is like equality, right? And each other. So you just kind of create like a family out of what you have, and it's chosen family. Patryq's my chosen family.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know if you would be a brother or an uncle or a papa. What would you be, Patryq?
I think probably by now it's a papa.
No, it's Papa. Remember, no, but you're my brother. I feel, you know, we kiki and pick at each other like brothers. You know.
Oh, I think it's more like sisters, but okay.
Well, I was gonna say, you saw my hesitation to pause. I also use they, them pronouns, but I use she and he very loosely because I'm gender neutral. So you'll hear me use all the pronouns for myself. So excuse me.
All of them. Yes. It's that's kind of great because that what you just said was very representative of the show, where you have straight cis guys and drag kings and straight cis women. There's no one box that you're working with here, and it was I think one of the most successful elements of the show. I'm curious to ask each of you what your favorite outfits were that you created for the people that you were mentoring.
Patty, you go first.
I'm gonna say New Mexico for Jasmine and why can't I remember? Stacey. Jasmine and Stacey. Those were my favorites. Those three, the wings and the dresses. Those were my favorite pieces, and they were also my favorite story. No, I don't want to say my favorite story, but Jasmine and Stacey have the story that I identify with most. You know, I have a sister who also committed suicide, and recently an uncle.
I'm sorry.
Not for the same reasons, but you know, I get suicide. So, you know, that, and besides that, I just think that the New Mexico episode was the best episode. When I see it all put together, and I watch it, it flows. There's never a dull moment. The way that it's cut and edited, it just goes, you know, right from one thing to the next thing, and it's perfect. So I think, you know, that's really the groove right there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I loved New Mexico too. And honestly, those wings were it was such an intense project that we actually came up with, me and Patryq, because we were trying to figure out on the costume side, like how to make these wings work, how to make them big, how to make them appear without them being like shoulder sets. Like they appear out of nowhere. You know, I mean, the way that he made these wings were ingenious, really. But we also wanted it to be able to have like a costume underneath that like was kind of flirtatious to like what they wanted their style to be as a drag queen. You know, Jasmine wanted to have a little touch of like Jennifer Lopez's bodysuit, and then Stacey wanted to have like an elegant gown, but she really wanted her boobies to show because she had paid for them. So she was like, "Girl, I paid for them; they need to be displayed."
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, what, Patty?
That was one of the episodes where I had 2 drag daughters to dress, which was really pressure. And you can, you know, if you talk to Domino, he knows what that's like too.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
There you go. So every now and then one of us gets more than one drag daughter to dress, which really puts the heat on.
Yeah.
But it was my favorite. I almost remember that night.
Because Patryq ended up getting a little tipsy the night of the show, but it was time to celebrate. Really, he had worked so hard. We get like, you know, we get about 9 to 10 days per episode for filming, and I would say the designers probably get like fully to work on the costumes like 4 or 5 full days to like really work on the actual production costumes like that we're performing on. Wouldn't you say, Patryq, about 4 or 5 probably at the most?
But sometimes we have to be on set.
Yeah, because it's TV, right? So like you've got to come in for fittings. It's definitely a huge project that takes a lot of love and patience for. But you know, that's what's crazy is like we are working with like the best in the business. You know what I'm saying? Like we've got Patryq Howell, who's like one of the best like Southern designers you'll ever see, based out of Kentucky. We've got Diego Montoya out of New York, who's literally iconic for all of his designs via Sasha Velour, Drag Race, so on and so forth. We've got Domino Couture, who's done the same thing. I mean, we're really working with a handful of incredible artists. We also have Wigs and Grace, our wig designer, who really just, I mean, and it's one person, and he has an assistant or two, but I mean, we have one person doing all the wigs of the show. You know, We have an incredible cast and crew. Like, it's crazy. I wish you could come and be a part of it sometime, Eric. I think you would really enjoy it. It's just the dynamic and the energy when we're producing the show is incredible.
Well, you have a season 2, so I'll ring up HBO and be. I think I need a BTS.
Well, we would love to get you in there for some BTS, honey. You know, we love the press, push it. We want the awards, the love, the Emmys. It's our community. You know what I mean? It's like
all of it.
It's important to like win those things for a show like this, because this show is representing so many different types of people. I think that's why I love New Mexico as well, Patryq, is because New Mexico storylines are based on things that we don't normally get to hear about in the community, like suicide within the LGBT community is really, the statistics are extremely high, sadly, especially in small town areas. Then you also have the indigenous culture that's often looked over that Bob worked with. Yeah. And then you also have like the identity of a female that may present masculine, but wants to be referred to as a female is often looked over. Lesbian culture is not at the forefront of the gay agenda a lot of times when it comes to media, things like that. So I agree with like New Mexico being a very special episode, but also with like the trans wedding that we had with, you know, straight cis men that we had on the show with, you know, there's just the lesbian couple we had that I got to work with, luckily, Lynn in the 5th episode, showing like that family vibe. It's important to get to do things like this. I commend you, Eric, and HBO, because this is how we create change and how we like give people hope in the world. And hopefully like we can win some awards, because it's not really for the show as much as it's for like the hope of our people and our community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me get off my soapbox.
No, it's you're absolutely right. It's the visibility of it, and I think when we get to see representations from this side of the screen, it's there isn't anything that you can compare it to. It's an incredible feeling, whether it's, you know, Moonlight winning the Oscars or whatever it might be. And so that visibility is incredibly important. I had asked Bob and Shangela before if they were worried about a possible like oversaturation of drag because there's so much of it now. But it's not. It's putting it in the place where it needs to be.
I think that we're lucky with we're here, because I think that Drag Race has tried to touch on the emotional side of drag and the power of drag, and it has done a beautiful job of it. But it's also about a competition, you know. This goes to the heart of our communities. It's showing stories that the world doesn't normally get to see from perspectives that people don't often get to see either. You know, it's nice seeing the perspective of the cisgendered female that has, you know, disowned her daughter, but is now trying to retract and trying to fix that and mend that relationship because she does love her and realized the mistake she made. It's important to see indigenous culture and how, you know, the two spirits are affected by religion being intercoursed with their natural culture of living in New Mexico. It's important to see the suicidal statistics and how that affects a family. It's important to see a straight male walk in the shoes of a drag queen and just do it unapologetically, even though it can be a bit uncomfortable. Like, all those things is what helps create a better society, and it hasn't been done on TV. I mean, Queer as Folk has tried to touch on it. Drag Race has done a beautiful job of preserving and presenting drag to the world, but with this show, we're showing the true power of drag and the confidence you can get from just doing something exciting and artistic. And there's something Lynn said to me, actually, from episode 5, when I talked to Lynn later. Lynn said, I miss you all being in town. And I was like, what do you mean? And Lynn was like, I just miss when you all were here, the entire town felt different. Like, people talked to me differently. I had people that I related to that was around me. Like, I get chills talking about it because Lynn,
let's go back.
Yeah, let's go back. I'm down. Yeah, but it's just, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like us going to these small towns impact them in ways that we don't even understand, because it shows them how progressive they can be and how comfortable they can be in their small town, right? And these are times where most of these people have never been that comfortable for in their entire life, and we're getting to capture it on film and show it to the world.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Lynn was incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
She was amazing because I had to go fit her. She has a prosthetic arm and a prosthetic leg,
Yes.
and I was extremely uncomfortable because I didn't know how to handle it. But she made me feel at ease. She made me feel comfortable. She had such a great sense of humor. I mean, it was just amazing. She didn't, fitting her was a breeze because she made me feel okay with it.
Wow.
She was so inspirational. She inspired us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like as each of these people are going through their emotional journey to get to that stage at the end, that you all are as well.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
I
we
think
get to see it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone. Yeah, Patryq. I mean, that's the thing is like our makeup artist, our design team, hair, and myself, like we are all with these people through this journey because we're like helping them create a performance. But the performance is based on something emotional to these people
Mm-hmm.
or something that's happened in their lives. And we all take our jobs probably a little too serious sometimes, but that's what adds the passion and the drive behind the show. So we all invest a part of ourselves emotionally,
Yeah.
That's why.
It's
Go ahead,
it's
Patryq.
more it's more than just being on screen and being a show. When you talk to these people, you're touched. You're sincerely touched by them. You're
Mhm.
not just mugging for the camera.
Yeah.
That may come with the opening look, but not when you talk to these people. When you talk to Erica, it was emotional. I remember watching the first cut of that episode, and I cried. It's
Yeah.
real.
Well, it's a real life series. I think that's the point. This is real life, and we're not going into these towns and saying, "Hey, let's fix your problems," and then we're going to go. We're coming into these towns and we're giving them the resources and the ability to start fixing their own problem. We're not putting a big bow on it and saying, "Oh, you're fine, go on." We're giving them tools and hopefully some confidence so that they can continue this progress that we're trying to help them start. And I think that's where the specialness and the individuality of this show versus other shows comes from is
Yeah.
because we're being honest and real and showing the truth, and we're not trying to make it all sparkly all the time. It's just real. It's real people, real issues. And us as queens too are truly affected by it because we're opening up ourselves to these people to be vulnerable. And it does affect me a lot sometimes, but I wouldn't change it for the world because I get to know these people on a level that I'm gaining real family. Like my drag kids from this series, I still talk to them,
Oh, good.
They still message me on Instagram. Erica just the other day was like, "I got a new podcast episode out. Go watch it, Mama. Love you." Clifton, his little heteronormative ass, is like texting gay slang in the comments to the gays, thinking she's just the fiercest thing in the world, and it just makes me smile, and she's got merch out and everything.
Oh my God.
He was
Esquire. Oh, go ahead.
he was great. He was fantastic.
I loved Clifton.
So good.
He was so straight and so into it.
Yeah.
Smiled the whole time. He didn't hesitate about anything. He wasn't the least bit uncomfortable. He just put on his costume, got his makeup done, got his hair done, and went out and did it. And his friends were all there.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
The only time I saw him be kind of uncomfortable was at that party we went to. When like of course I'm a big old ball of flamboyancy. I can't help it.
No.
Hashtag
Rainbow
crazy
fish.
rainbow fish. But I just hopped in there, and he was a little uncomfortable at first, but I think once you get drag on it, it changes. You know what I mean? You get this persona about you, and he really felt sexy. And you did a great job doing that, Patryq. I mean, we went rock star all the way with those looks.
And I love too that you were doing the drag family resemblance, and it was spot on. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Another making some stuff in your hotel room. The first 2 episodes, we did everything in our hotel room, and none of the designers had any contact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
wow.
of course, it was my first time ever going anywhere and doing anything like this, and it was tough. But after those episodes, they started putting us together all of the designers together in a big workspace, a meeting room or a ballroom, whatever they could get. And then we really got to know each other and began to work together more as a team. Of course, we all have our own people to work for, but we were able to count on each other whenever we needed anything, which was amazing because I'm isolated from any other designers, and I'm not in New York. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. So being around them was just an amazing experience to see how they work and to see the kind of things that they do. So that was amazing after the first 2 episodes.
Oh, I love it. So we mentioned earlier that you're getting a second season, and obviously I'm very excited about that and really happy for you all. What else is next for each of you? What's on the horizon that we can look forward to?
More rhinestone, more feathers.
Yeah. I mean, me and Patryq are always working on the next great look. I don't ever let this poor man get a break. Let's be honest, because I don't ever take a break. And I'm working on projects with different organizations and stuff, just especially like trying to uplift queer voices right now, which is really important. And then obviously the show, we're already, casting and working on some performance pieces and like ideas of what we're going to try to push. And it's going to be even bigger, badder, and better. And I think right now, the next couple months, I'm really trying to focus my energy into the Emmys, honestly, and just trying to help promote this show and promote promote it with the Academy and show up where I can, because I think it'll be very important for this show to earn its placement. And there's something about the Emmys and being noticed by the Academy and things that really give a show their place in the industry. And I think that's what we need to really keep us pushing forward.
I couldn't agree more.
Eureka, will you please get me an Emmy?
That's all Patryq has talked about this whole process. He's like, girl, I'll run on this giant parachute dress of yours, but I want an Emmy.
You're the one that started it.
Yeah.
You mentioned in the beginning, and I never shut up about it the whole time. I'm like, that's what I'm shooting for the whole time.
Yeah, well, if voters are watching this and listening to this and the story and watch the show and know the work that has gone into it, it should be right there.
I agree, Eric. That's so sweet. Yeah, that's what I tell her. Honey, she still drinks a whole pint of beer, honey, just to talk to me about it. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that is right. Well, Patryq and Eureka, thank you so much for chatting today. It was an honor and a thrill, and I wish the best for both of you and for the show.
Yeah.
That's
Eric, you're a sweetheart. So what's your tea? Tell me more about you real quick. I'm just
real
curious.
Quick. It's really funny how much I can connect with this show because I come from a really small town, really small. When I grew up here, I moved back. There was 5,000 people. I was the only out gay kid in school, and I wore makeup every day, full on like Boy George, just full on every day. And it was, just abuse and horrible. It was like the worst thing. And I had to leave the town because there was nothing here for me. And then I moved back 5 years ago with my husband, and my family is still here. And it's a much more progressive town now. And a few years ago, the Gay Straight Alliance in the high school put on a drag show for the town where we had my high school prom, and I got to be a judge. And it was the most incredible full circle moment for me. And it's the kind of thing where it's what I felt watching the show, where people, the scariest thing as a queer kid is always feeling alone. And when you don't feel that way, there's so much freedom. And just being able to breathe becomes an easier thing. And not just for you, but for everybody else, to be able to have that safety in numbers. And I'm sure as the lines were growing outside of all the venues that you guys had, that was really showing the support that was there in that town. And that's how I felt too. And it's you can't replace that feeling. So.
Wow, that's special. That's important too. I love that. Thank you, Eric, for sharing that with us. Oh, I want to hug you so bad.
maybe there.
I'm a big hugger. Ask Patryq. I try to squeeze on him all the time.
I'm a big hugger too. I miss it so bad.
Big hugger.
Big hugger. All right. Well, love to you both, and have a wonderful week. And yes, good luck.
Yeah, well, you too. I love you, Patryq. It's so good to see you. Thank you, Eric. I love y'all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye, Chris. Bye, Aaron.